A lot of people think Woods is the worst map in Escape from Tarkov. I disagree. For a new player, it can be almost impossible to find your way around the map. And even when you do know when you're going, whenever you get shot just walking through the woods without much cover to hide behind, it's pretty easy to see why people dislike the map so much. In my last video, we already covered Woods as a whole and went over how to move around the map and survive more encounters, but in this video, we're looking at spawns and the opening minutes of raid. After this video, not only are you going to see your survival for the starter raid go up, but also your deadliness as well. I'm Thickless and let's hop into raid. Okay, up first we have RUAF on the bottom right side of the lake. There's the lake right there. It is the first spawn heading towards the medical camp. This spawn can be anywhere from over here on the hills, on the backside of the tank, on the backside of these hills. Mainly this is the first spawn that's closest to medical. If you want to run into medical, you're going to be the first team that's going to make it there. Be careful though, because by the time you're about halfway through looting, you're going to run into some engagements from the people that are rotating from the right. If you want to head up the road and head into the middle of the map, you're free to run as fast and as long as you want. You're not going to run into anybody until you get around Lumber Mill. This spawn, the biggest spawn risks are going to be down this road. You got nothing in front of you, so like I said, you could head into medical, you can head into the middle, you can go along the rocks over here, and nobody's going to be in front of you. You can just sprint and not have to worry about anything but a scav. If you want to play off the spawns, they are down this road. You have one about halfway up the hill. There's one a little bit in the field, all the way down by UN Roadblock, and then kind of up the wall a little bit. Okay, moving on to the next spawn location. We're down the road that we were just looking at. There's a tank that we were standing on. You are able to get a spawn that's kind of in this location and even kind of a little bit on the other side of the trees. I feel like both of these spawns are pretty dangerous spawns. I feel like I only get these spawns when there's a lot of spawns around me. I have gotten the spawn that's over on the other side of the tank on the back side of the hill, as well as along the wall and even over here in UN. This is a spawn that if you get, you kind of want to make your decision on what you're going to do really quickly. Am I going to just commit to getting across the field and get into the middle of the map? Am I going to medical to take on whoever is over here? Or do I want to run aggressively over to the right and set up kind of along these hills? Oh, there's a rock over here that you can set up around and try to see if we can take out the side spawns before we move either into the middle of the map or into medical. Let's head down to UN and see what's over there. Okay, this is the UN Roadblock spawn. This is the bottom right in the map, all the way in the corner. This spawn, pretty much all the way along the wall heading north, all the way up to the railway depot, is kind of all around the same spawn. If you spawn here, you're not going to get pretty much any of these spawns going up along until you at least get to railway. If you head back down the road, be careful hanging on the left side of the wall, because I have ran into people that are trying to avoid going to medical and they don't want to head into the middle of the map. Maybe they have to go up and around, so I have caught them rotating down this aisle. I've caught them through the trees. If you are going to go down this road, do be careful. I have had situations where I've run face to face with somebody that was rotating to try to avoid medical. From here, if you head up to the north, you're kind of able to go in by the ZB extract along the wall a little bit. If you head north, you're probably going to have a lot less danger. Left is where you're kind of going towards danger. But let's move up along the hill and see what's up there. Okay, with our next spawn, I've come up the wall a little bit. The railway depot is right here. Medical is over here, with ZB extract being right over here. If you get any of the spawns that are kind of from this rock all the way up to the top of the hill right there, these are kind of all the same spawns. If you get this spawn, you kind of have a couple of options. You're probably going to have one of the southern spawns right over here that's going to be rotating up and into the middle of the map, either through the woods or even over to the medical camp. So if I was looking to go and take in the engagement in on this one, I'd probably run diagonally right here, set up over by the little valley with the tank on it, and then look towards the middle of the map. You'll typically find somebody within like the first 30 seconds. If you want to head up towards the middle, you can go ahead and get into the lumber mill, sawmill type engagement. Or if you want to just move into the middle of the map, you're going to be able to go this way pretty safely and just head towards the plane crash. But let's head up to Sawmill and get into some real engagements. Okay, up next we have over by North UN Roadblock. North UN Roadblock is down there. If you head down that road, you're going to head into the Sawmill. You can spawn anywhere really on the backside of these hills right here. You can spawn up by the little broken wall. You can spawn on the other side of these trees on the hills. If you get this spawn, I kind of like to get aggressive on this spawn and go towards the Sawmill. All of the spawns that are towards the south are kind of movement spawns. You kind of have to either rotate to the engagement or you have to rotate away from it and go into the middle of the map. Nothing really is around it. Once you get up here to these spawns, you do have a major location, the backside of Sawmill, which is really the first area where you're going to get into a lot of engagements. With this spawn, if I was looking to move into the map safely, I'd probably run through the middle of the map towards the big mountain and then just be in the middle side of the map and go to wherever it is that I needed to go for this raid. If I wanted to be in the engagement, you can go up along the road and go face check the road. You can come up along the hills. If you come up on the rocks up here, you have a pretty good vantage points, and the rocks are quite long, so you can get angles from over here, you can get angles from over there, It is pretty difficult to move around this area and not be seen if you have somebody looking for it, so if you're able to get eyes on the location, it's pretty easy to get an early kill. Alright, let's move across Sawmill to our next location. Alright, our next location is on the other side of Sawmill. There's the rocks that we were just standing on, getting an overview of Sawmill. You can spawn anywhere over here on the trees on the hill. There is also a spawn in the middle of Sawmill. If you spawn in the middle of Sawmill, you're not going to have that immediate spawn. They're probably going to be the ones that are along the wall. If you have the middle spawn right here, you're also probably going to have towards the middle and then probably the one that's out in the field in between the Scav Town and the Sawmill that we'll get to in a minute. If you ever spawn in the middle of Sawmill, quickly get the hell out of there. Either come out the side right over here or go out up over the rocks. You can even try to take the engagement that's over here by the rocks. If you stay here and you loot the building and you loot that, there's a very good chance that somebody's going to have eyes over the area checking to see if anybody is looting the building. I mean, if anybody spawns over here on the backside, someone can come up and cross and look over this way. They can check the buildings. They can check where you're rotating through. They could be on that side doing the exact same thing. There's just way too many angles. Woods is a map that you kind of have to clear out around the areas first, or before you know it, you're going to get shot from somebody in the tree line. But let's move up that way a little bit. Okay, our next spawn is going to be in between the Scav Town and Sawmill, which is right on the other side of these rocks. This is a very good spawn to play aggressive. You're going to have people going into the Scav Town. You're going to have people coming on the backside over here from the rocks. If you get this spawn, you're not going to have somebody that's going to spawn directly inside Sawmill right here, but you're probably going to have the people on the back side of the hill or even on the top side over here by the rocks. So if you want to come over here into Sawmill, then just use your angles, use the side of the rocks, on the trees, on top of the hill. Stay up and get a vantage point for as long as you can, and you're going to see somebody push into that area pretty likely. Sawmill is a little weird though. It only has like those 2 buildings and a couple of stashes. It's not hit all of the time, but it's good to play safe around this area like the first 2 to 3 minutes of raid. But really, if you get this spawn over here, you're going to be playing more against Scav Town than you are over Sawmill. It's nice to just glance over there to make sure that the spawn on the opposite side isn't going to be rotating behind you to where you get shot in the back, but most of your attention is going to be faced this way. If you come up over here, don't spend too much time in this exact location because it's probably the most common spot. Gives you eyes all the way down along the road as well as across from anybody coming from behind Scav Town. If you get this spawn, your biggest locations that you're going to have to worry about is you're going to have the other side of the rocks over there on the backside. They may come to you, they may not, just be wary of it. But you will have a couple of Scav Town spawns. If you get the spawn over here, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to have the spawn that, it's not exactly right here, but it's down on this end over here in the trees. Playing around Scav Town is kind of tricky. You have the people that'll move in very quickly and try to loot this building right here with the shed in the back, or right here and that building. But really, if you're trying to stay alive, you really want to scout the location. There's a lot of pathing along the backside over here for anybody that spawns over here in the field. There's a lot of spawns that are over here that'll move up through the trees to get eyes on the backside, because you can move in through the middle right here. You can move in to the right here. There's area over there. You can also jump over the wall over there. Just a lot of locations that you can get in. This is a very dangerous spot early. Whenever you get this spawn and you're running up on the hill, don't run up here and be all like at the top. Because anybody that comes through this location, that comes through here, down on the road, anybody that's moving through here, this is like the first spot I look just to see if I can check and find anybody. A lot of times if I spawn over here, I'll be able to catch somebody that's coming up to get eyes right here. They'll just be scanning, but then I'll shoot them from like the side of the head this way or the side of the head that way. So while this location is a great overview to see if there's any type of movement, that's really all I'm looking for is movement from this location. I'm not looking to take the engagement just because I stick out like a sore thumb. What I like to do is if you cross the road right here, this is actually a lot more cover and not as checked. So one, if I come down right here, I'm covered from right here. So if I hear anything, I can just pop up and I can get shots. But you also have cover. You have covers from the left, cover from the right. If I hear anybody that's moving through here, I'll be able to shoot them from right here. This is one of the angles that I use if I have a longer range weapon and then I don't want to go and face push whoever is inside. You get good view on anybody coming out through right here, as well as moving along the edge right here. But if I'm looking to play aggressive, these spawns that are located over here on the rocks are probably some of my favorite. But let's move over here to the middle of the field. Okay, so here's the spawn over on the backside of the Scav town. There's the rocks that we were just up on. Sawmill is on the other side of this. You are able to spawn out here in the middle of the field. A lot of people hate this spawn because it is a very dangerous spawn. You probably have the spawn inside of the Sawmill right over here. You have the spawn on the other side of bridge right there. Could have another spawn over on the middle top part right here below the top part of the big rock. But if you're looking to play aggressive, this is some of the earliest and most fun PvP at the start of Woods. Depending on where I'm looking to go and what it is I'm trying to do, I'll usually come around here on the left side, keeping my eyes open for the person coming out of Sawmill. Usually, unless the person that spawns inside Sawmill heads into the middle of the map because they want to go to lumber or medical or something, they'll typically come up to this location right here. While I scan this direction and see if this spawn is active, a lot of people don't. A lot of people are more worried about knowing that someone is going to be inside Scav Town, so they just focus that way. I'll get a lot of kills just from people not paying attention and getting a shot from right here. So this is why this is a really bad area, just because I can see everything from right here. Be careful moving along this way though. This spawn that's over here has a couple of options that they can do. Usually this is the first spawn to head into Scav Town the fastest. A lot of times though, they will hang out around here on the edge, being extra careful, knowing that since they are the first ones there, they are probably the ones that are going to be getting watched, so they try to be extra careful. Be careful moving along this way. You can have somebody that's just going to be holding an angle off of a bush or one of the walls, one of the trees. Pretty dangerous spawn in this area though, but really good spawn if you're looking to get into engagements quick. But let's move over here on the other side of the bridge, so that way I can show you the angle that I was talking about. Okay, this is the bridge vehicle extract. You can spawn anywhere over here down in this little valley, kind of up the way a little bit. This is the view that it looks like from this spawn. Anybody that's looking to move into Scav Town, I feel like they do it one of two ways. They either push in directly right here and then try to get inside the gate, or if you go along right here through the middle on the outside, kind of like you were going on the backside, there's a little broken gate that allows you to move into the back of this house right here. Kind of depends on what people want to do. I feel like people don't take the middle route as much just because they are more aware of the angles that people can have eyes on. Whereas if they go this way, they're out of view. They're able to move in, go on the other side of that wall, and then they're in. If whoever spawns over here does run this way and you get that spawn that's over here in the valley, very, very good chance that you're going to run into an engagement within the first like 20-30 seconds and pick up an easy kill. The other part of this location that they can go is they can go down the right side along the trees and try to see if anybody's pushing up along this little valley right here. Anybody that's going this direction, they're not necessarily looking for the most immediate engagement, but they are aware that there are people around and they're probably trying to avoid Sawmill or get to the backside so that way they can get eyes and clear out whoever is playing Overwatch. Okay, the next spawn location is on the first spawn over by the abandoned village. This spawn can spawn anywhere on this side of the rock. You can spawn a little bit more inside right here, or you can spawn on this side. This spawn, I feel, has any option available to it because it's located in the very top middle. Over there is bridge extract, so if you want to run and get into Scav Town, you can go and take that engagement and start fighting. If you want to rotate into the abandoned village, you're going to be coming from the east route, heading along the river. You can also head into the middle of the map, and really not many spawns are ahead of you. You're able to head in pretty easily. If you want a safe, easy way, you can just go down towards the middle. Abandoned Village can have some engagements, but they're pretty predictable, and we're going to go over where those are at. But I would consider this more of an abandoned village spawn that's located over here than anything. Let's head to the next one. Okay, our next spawn is tucked south of abandoned village, usually in the trees up kind of on the hills a little bit. Kind of easy to find your way out. Just run down the hill and you're going to kind of run into the abandoned village. This is a little bit slower of a spawn. I feel like you kind of have to rotate to get into your first engagement. While there is that spawn that we were just at over there by the rock, I feel like whenever I get this spawn, that spawn is not active. You might have another spawn on the other side of the lake over there by the Scav Bunker, but if you get the south side abandoned village spawn, then if you head south, you can just head into the middle of the map and there's literally nothing in front of you. You can just sprint and you're never going to run into another PMC for a couple minutes. Or you can head into abandoned village and your only spawns are going to be from the left side coming this way and potentially the right side, but very unlikely. Usually if I run into this engagement, it's going to be from the team coming from the left to the right. And instead of running straight into the middle of abandoned village, there is a lot of really tall foliage over here, like taller than PMC and scav height. So I just try to avoid these angles because you'll get scavs that have X-ray scav vision. You'll get PMCs that are playing slow and crab walking in the grass and you just never see them. I just try to avoid this area. I usually come down to the south side, mainly because these are the buildings that I hit anyways. But if you come down here through the south side and you want to take and clear abandoned village, then a lot of people don't look across the river for a bad guy or for scavs or anything. So if you come through here on the south side, you can pretty much catch anybody that's rotating from the left scav bunker right here before they even reach abandoned village. And then it has a pretty good side angle to where you're not looking long ways against grass on top of grass on top of grass. So the tall grass over there runs this direction. So if you look at it from this direction, it's kind of easier for you to see. I don't really go into angles very much on the spawn guides, but if you come up through here and you do have to crouch to get in, this is a pretty nasty angle. You can see anybody walking through. You can see down through that way. You can even see back where I was just at. Pretty cheeky location. You can definitely catch somebody by surprise. It is difficult though if they know where you're at and where the shots are coming from. It's kind of difficult to make it out of here because one, you only have one door to make it out, and then you can only head either forward or back the way you came. To show you how to get up here, since we already went over it, if you walk all the way over here, you can climb on top. I guess it's a little easier now that they added vaulting because before you had to jump. But if you come this way, you can step on this, come all the way to the corner, and then climb, and then you're out. Just a little cheeky location right there. But let's head up and move to our next location. Okay, so we are just on the south side of the Scav Bunker that's right up here. Well, this is actually kind of more of the overlook. The bunker is actually over there a little bit. But we're on the left side of the lake. If you get this spawn, you probably have the spawn that's up over in the hills, like I said. Probably either the rock spawn maybe that's over there. This is a spawn that if you wanted to go and loot abandoned village that you could, but you just want to be wary on the right and south side of the lake. Just make sure nobody is camping and looking for you to stop moving. The only other spawn here that you really have to worry about is going to be on the far side, on the opposite side of Scav Bunker. Not too dangerous of a spawn. You kind of have to rotate to get into anything, but you could head down south towards the middle of the map, going through the little windy paths of the lakes. Pretty easy to avoid engagements from here, but if you know where to run, like I'm probably going to run down this way and try to take out that team that's going to be moving into abandoned village. But most likely, I'm probably going to use this spawn to get into the USEC engagement. But be wary of where you could possibly have engagements, and it's going to make your time living going up way longer. Okay, I am now on the top left side of Scav Bunker. The spawn is actually kind of down here, and on the back, there's another spawn on the back side of this hill over here. Because it's really not around anything, there's nothing that really shows you where you're at other than the out of bounds. I stopped right here just so you can see where we're at. This is the Scav Bunker on the top of the map. Down here, this spawn that's over here and the spawn that's over here, I consider both of these USEC spawns. You are able to move up into this location, get into the overlook, and then go down into abandoned village if you like. But this is a very good angle to get into USEC from the north side and take that engagement with the better loot. Here's that second spawn that I was talking about. As I'm telling you, like, there's really nothing that you have any gauge to go on where you're at. But as long as you don't see any out of bounds signs, typically right here, it's safe to move up the hill. If you move right through these trees, it kind of takes some learning to know exactly where you're at. But once you kind of figure out and identify that, oh, I'm on this backside over here by USEC, then you're able to run down the hill right here and then get straight into USEC. These two spawns right here are probably going to head USEC just because it is the best part of the map for immediate loot if you spawn near it. It's also almost guaranteed that you're going to have an engagement, so a lot of fun going to USEC. You can avoid it by going over to the Scav Bunker over here, but then as you rotate to the abandoned village, you could be having eyes on you from any of those locations that we were just looking at. But mainly right here, I'm going to head into Scav or USEC. If you decide to avoid USEC and you need to head down the south side of the map, there are landmines that are all right here. If you're going to head down the south side, don't run along the back side of the hill right there by USEC. You want to hug more right, so that way you don't have any landmines that you're going to run into that are located at the bottom of this hill right here. So if you're not going to USEC, just stay further to the right, so that way you don't end up blowing yourself up. All right, to go over where to not go for the landmines, pretty much there's a line of trees that you want to stay away from. I'm not exactly sure exactly where it starts again, but I like to use this tree right here as kind of my base. You don't want to enter the dirt. Stay on the outside of the grass. So I'm fine running along the base right here. But if I try to move up to USEC and I don't use the corner by that rock right there, then you're going to get hit. So stay off the rocks. You want to stay inside the tree line. All of this, all the way out to the landmines out there, is all safe. You just don't want to move into right here. If you want to try and go into USEC, but every time you try to go into USEC, you feel like you step on a landmine and you die. Took me a few tries as a new player to figure out exactly where I was okay. But if you come along this outside right here, then you can just run straight into USEC. And you're around the backside. This is the top side of the spawn where you're going to come over here. And they're going to be on the opposite side. Also, watch out from out there. Up on top, you can get on top of those rocks, and I'll get a lot of people from this location that are looking to clear across, but they never clear up here. So just be careful. Okay, also with USEC spawns, you're able to get out here on the edge of map by the landmines. If you get this spawn, you're either going to have to run left to get up that north side, or you're going to have to come along the right side right here and then move up to the front of USEC. Don't run through the middle because, again, you're going to run into landmines. But this spawn and the spawn that's over here towards the front, which we're almost at, both of these spawns are going to be your front side of USEC spawn. So you could spawn like right here looking at the front. If you run through this way, here is the cutoff for the landmines. Okay, so I always use that inner tree line as a no-no area, and then these bushes. So I can't remember if this bush or that bush. I guess we'll find out right now. Is it this bush? No. Okay, so it's this bush right here. On the inside of this bush, there's landmines. And then I pretty much cut it all the way to right here. That is the farthest that way I'll go. From this rock to right here. Anything over there, I've died to landmines, but you're able to come up through this way. Whenever I come up through USEC, though, I try not to come through the middle right here because I don't like having to check my left and my right. I'd rather only have to check one location. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually come through those trees, come through those trees, come up here along the backside, and then take the side engagement and then clear, and then move across. And if you're wondering how to get on top of the rocks, like I was just saying, if you come up over here, you can go all the way up and be up top. There is also spawns right here. You can also get an M4 as well. Well, speaking of weapons, there's also an M4 spawn behind that tent, as well as over there on the rocks behind that tree right there. But if you come up over here, a lot of times, free shots. Anybody that gets one of the USEC spawns over here on the backside, or just USEC in general, moving into USEC is probably one of your better chances of getting better loot on the map, but you're probably most likely going to run into an engagement. A lot of people that do leave this area do so by heading along the middle right here. It takes you directly towards Lumber Mill in the middle of the map. You could head down the south side right here, and that's going to take you out to Outskirts. And then you can obviously head back up the way that we have been going, which has been towards Scav Bunker. Okay, the last USEC spawn is going to be on the right side, kind of where we were just talking about the rotation out from. You are also able to spawn over here as well. If you do, you're able to run directly across the hill right here and either get up on top of the rocks to get an angle across, or clear the right side of USEC like I was saying before you move in. This spawn, I tend to typically go up on the rocks first just because I'm most likely going to beat whoever's going to USEC by just a couple of seconds. So if I can get the noisy part of getting out on top of the rocks first, then I just have a huge advantage. Really, your main options with this spawn is to either head into USEC or just turn around and head into the middle side of the map and run away from any of the engagements. If you go in towards the middle of the map, you're pretty much not going to run into anybody. If you have this spawn, you're going to head into USEC, then you're probably going to have the outer spawn that's on the flip side, not this close one, but probably on the outside. And then you're probably definitely going to have one of the farther ones on the north side of USEC. I don't know if in the time that I've been playing this game, I've ever had a single spawn at USEC. Typically, there's always going to be two teams that are going to spawn near it. And while one team might leave and not show up at USEC because they're scared, they don't want to die, or they just want to get their objective done, the other half of the teams definitely want that fight. It's probably one of the best early fights for Woods. But we finished up here on the north side of the map. Let's head down towards Outskirts. Okay, before we head down to Outskirts, we have two spawns that we need to talk about. The first one is over here by Sniper Rock. This is just above Lumber Mill. We're actually located now in the middle of the map. This is a spawn. I don't get it very often. It's kind of a weird spawn. Because you're already in the middle of the map, you're not going to immediately run into somebody, but no matter which direction you go, there's a very high chance that somebody could rotate towards you. So if I get this spawn and I head towards the sniper along the rocks right here and I head through the middle, then anybody that spawned along the wall or on this side of Sawmill, they could be rotating towards the middle of the map, in which case I'm going to run into them over here by the rocks. If you head up, then you could have that spawn that's right up here like we just mentioned, as well as you're going to have the USEC spawns. You're going to have the spawns up over by Abandoned Village, so if they start running down and you're running up towards Abandoned Village, you might meet in the middle of the woods. You could also run and go towards the engagement that's going to be taking place over by either the checkpoint or by ZB. Also very possible is you can run into the woods across the road right here. All those spawns on the south side are going to have to move in this way, so it requires playing a little slow. I don't like this spawn very much because you do have to play slow. I like to play aggressive, but if you play slow and you get onto that side, you're going to catch some people rotating to you. Let's head over by the Barrel Rock. The second middle location is going to be over here by the Barrel Rock. There is the Overlook Rock along with the wall leading down towards the ZB. This spawn is also kind of located in the middle because all those spawns that are on this side of the road typically don't cross the road and it's a fear to get shot. They'll typically come along this way and then end up through here. So it's kind of one of those locations that if you want to take advantage of rotating early into Lumber Mill, maybe you want to get Sturman before anybody can get there. Or if you want to go and get to the middle side of the map, you want to head up towards USEC because you have to go up there for tasks or you want to loot. This is kind of a decision. Whoever spawns here kind of can do whatever they want. They can camp, they can set up and wait for somebody to rotate to them. Pretty good spawn, just depends on what you're here for. It's either a good spawn or it could be a very boring spawn. Let's head down by ZB. Okay, this is the ZB spawn for ZB14. This is a really good spawn that if you want to just run down, hit it, and get out quickly, you can pretty much loot it before anybody else shows up. The main dangers of this spawn is you're going to have somebody that's going to spawn down there by the Scav House. Probably going to have somebody that's going to spawn on the other side of the hill over there, maybe even attachment house. With this spawn, you're probably not going to have the one that's over here by the barrels, but you could have the one that's in the middle over by the top side of lumber by the sniper rock. If I'm looking for an engagement here, typically I'm going to be running across and I'm going to meet whoever is going to attachment house. I either want to loot attachment house and take all the goodies that are going to be located there, or I want to take the engagement and then take the goodies. If you're not looking for an engagement, then it's just easiest to move up the top side of the map, going towards the middle. If you do move up the north way, really the only spawns you have to worry out for are going to be the one over by the sniper rock like we just spoke about, or the spawn that's up on the hill that has the option of going to USEC or back down towards the middle. All right, let's head over by Scav House. Okay, our next spawn is just above Scav House. So right now we're on the left side of Scav House. Scav House is right there. Outskirts is down that way, and then ZB extract where we just were is up this way. With this spawn, you're going to be pretty easy to run straight into ZB14. You're probably not going to have the ZB14 spawn because it's too close, but you'll probably have the spawn with the barrels that is just on the other side of the road. Probably going to have the attachment spawn right over here, maybe even the one that's over on the top side of the hill over there. This isn't really a spawn I like to get aggressive on. It's more of a let me move out of this position and get to an angle to where I can play aggressive. Usually right here, I'm going to head up towards ZB14. Maybe I hit ZB14. Maybe I'm going to head all the way up to USEC. Even though you're pretty far from here, a lot of times if you sprint to USEC, since the left side of this map doesn't have very many spawns, you can pretty much make it all the way up to USEC without an issue. If you're quick about it, you can actually make it there for the engagement and clean up pretty nicely. But other than that, it's more of a just get out of this location so that way whoever's scanning the area doesn't snipe you, and then you can go and get to whatever task you need to do. There's really not a reason to be on this part of the map anyways, unless you're getting out. All right, let's go down by the landmines. Okay, the next two locations that I'm going to talk about is the Outskirts spawn. That's going to be located right there by Extract, as well as all the way down here on the left side by the landmines. There is the Scav House, so now we're below the Scav House. The last spawn that we were at was just right up over here, and then ZB is further up, and then more and more and more. The same thing with this spawn that was right over here. This isn't a very good spawn to get aggressive at. You're literally tucked into the corner with both this spawn and this spawn. You're going to have the ZB spawn that's right up there. You're probably going to have the attachment spawn that's right over there. Probably even the Scav checkpoint spawn that's over there. So this is kind of one of those spawns that you want to be just careful. Maybe don't full sprint the entire time until you're in the middle of the map. Check your angles, look around the ZB, be careful once you get to ZB. Be careful once you get near attachment house. Those are going to be your most dangerous areas. If I was looking to get out of here the easiest, I would either take the edge and come along the spawns that we're about to talk about, or I would go up along this way along the edge and then go up towards USEC or around the barrel rock and then into the middle of the map. Okay, your last two spawns are going to be located on the left side of the lake, down here by the mines, and then just a little bit up along the lake as you're heading toward attachment house. Right now we are across the road from Scav House. There's Scav House right there. I mean, really, if you get either of these two spawns, it doesn't really matter why I'm here. The first thing I'm doing is I'm just going to run straight up into the woods right here. This is probably going to be my attachment spawn. I'm going to go hit attachment, get all the scopes, items that I need to get out of there. Once I hit attachment house, there's a lot of angles that if you want to still set up and wait for somebody to come to you, you can hang out around attachment house. Very good chance that someone's going to see it. One of the other spawns is like right here. Attachment house is right there. All you got to do is go ahead, run in there, hit the table, hit the ammo. A lot of good ammo that a lot of people leave. This bottom side, all of these spawns aren't really good spawns for fighting off a rip. This is more of a, let me just survive the opening 5 minutes, and then we'll play off of whatever else that we hear or see. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do have more videos that are coming out. Right now, the trend that I'm doing is I'm doing a guide map, and then following that up immediately with a spawn guide for that map as well. Make sure you subscribe so that way you're notified when those videos come out. I want to thank you guys for all the support. You guys have been amazing. We are already at 400 subscribers, which is absolutely insane. But I hope you guys liked the video. Hope you guys are loving the content. If I missed anything, please drop it down in the comments. Let me know what you guys thought, and I'll see you in the next one.